Alright, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another installment of Beer Time. I'm your host, Ferris. Let's begin and jump right into it. Glad to have you back. Now, what we're going to be doing tonight is a cider doubleheader. We got a couple of new things here. Again, we're kind of sticking to cider for a little bit just because it seems to be a growing market here. We will be going back to some beer at some point here soon, but let's touch on what we've got right now. Now, I've got two kind of opposite ends of the cider spectrum here for us to sample. Now, if you want to look at it historically, before cider came to the States, you had kind of two major cider producing countries. You had France and England. And especially in France around Normandy, that sort of section in the north of France there. And a lot of those traditions have kind of come through. So this one here, we'll start off with this baby. This is actually done by Stella Artois, which is Belgian, I know, but close enough to my uncultured American way of thinking. Now, Stella's been around for a long time. I think they advertise, 1366 as a brewery. But their cider making is actually rather new. First off, the bottle, if you're familiar with the Stella Artois lager, very similar aesthetic. I think it's actually the same bottle with the Stella labeling around it, the Horn of Plenty motif around the edge, and even the labeling on there as well, just a clean white label with the Stella Artois logo there, and Cidre, if you want to use the French pronunciation. I wanted to cover this before we dive right into it, because I think the guys over at Stella kind of know the market, and if they're developing a cider, this is a good trend that cider's here to stay, and we'll be seeing a lot more of it. As you can see, the color is nice, clear, and golden. Not a lot of head on the pour there. And let's see, ABV on this. I want to say it's under, here we go, 4.5% ABV. So not very strong, should be pretty sessionable. That's nice. Very rich apple aroma, notes and aromas, as you'd expect. Almost has sort of a real caramel after finish to it. It's got a nice follow through. If you remember back to the Gumption hard cider video, this and the Gumption are fairly close in terms of flavor profile. This has a slightly more refined finish, I would say. The Gumption's good, but it's got kind of a one note all the way through. It's just apple, 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 apple all the way through. This is like apple, and then, oh, there's some nice floral bouquet notes to it on the end of it. Rather nice. Good job there. Now, on the other side of things, we have a local offering. This is Wildcide, produced and packaged by the Aurum Cider Company of San Jose. Represent. The labeling on this is also kind of nifty. You got this sort of indie artistry ribbon. I suppose that's apple peel, I guess. Labeling on the side of it. On the back, they do advertise that not only is it gluten-free because it is apples there, contains no sulfites, which is handy, actually. One of my friends that got me started off on cider, big food sensitivity things. So not just gluten, but any sort of preservative, like nitrates, sulfites, anything like that you find in almost any processed food. Fittest bastard I've ever seen, but man alive. It was hard to find stuff that he could eat. Anyway, let's dive into this. Now, a couple other things about this. This contains a lot more bigger kick. You're looking at 6.2% ABV on this. So, color's a lot different too. You can see it's a lot more pale. Almost actually, if you would picture the inside of a good Red Delicious or Gala apple. You know, you want to see them side by side. Stella's got almost an orangey tint to it, whereas this is more yellowy gold. The aroma's a lot different on this too. I'm getting a lot more of the yeast in it. I'm guessing this is going to be a lot drier. Not wrong. And very dry. Not as much mouthfeel to it, and in fact, not as much specific gravity as it almost tastes like a lighter beer compared to, or lighter cider, pardon me, compared to the Stella. It's really good though. Now, the funny thing about these two is that both of them are solid, but I want to say even then this is a slightly, it's almost champagne-y when it comes to the mouthfeel and the yeast on this. Again, not a lot of head, as you could see, so I don't think you could get away with swapping this out for a bubbly, but, or even Prosecco, or even something like that, but still really good. Both of these, bottom line, will appeal to the cider drinker in your life. I would definitely say even the Wildcide would have some crossover appeal to someone who doesn't normally like cider, that prefers even a lighter beer or something, like my wife. Definitely good there. And that's got a really potent kick. That doesn't taste like it'll knock you out, but I think that'll creep up on you pretty easily if you let it. Now let's talk about price and availability. First off, laurels on that are definitely going to wind up going to the Stella. Why is that? For one, again, they're a much older brewery. They've got a built-in distributorship. It's going to be real easy to get this almost anywhere you go. This stuff I picked up at Walmart. Out here in Cali, it ran me about $8 and change, which isn't actually that expensive nowadays. The cider's starting to get more expensive due to demand. About 3 months back, when I first started seeing this on the shelves, it was actually more expensive than the Angry Orchard. Now the Orchard's about 50 cents a six-pack more expensive than the Stella here. So, again, your local mileage may vary depending on your local distributorship, liquor laws, carriers, that sort of thing. The Wildcide, I've only seen this at one place. Now, that might be because they're just getting up and running. I don't know, and maybe I got lucky. Little corner liquor store, maybe about walking distance away from my apartment. I just went on a beer run, and I saw this, and I'm like, oh, hey, new stuff. Let's tell you people about it. Which is what we're doing right now. These guys are local in San Jose. Don't know how widespread the distributorship's going to be. If you see them, pick them up because they're good. You know, tell your friends about it. I want to help out any of my local businesses as I can. Definitely worth going after, though. The six-pack for this ran me about $10, like $9.99. But that liquor store is kind of pricey, generally. I can go to Bevmo or Walmart or any of the other stuff, and I can find similar beers for like $2 or $3 less. So your mileage may vary, depending on if you can find it. Even then, depending on what county you're in on liquor laws, you might have a harder time finding this as well too, because it's over 6%. I know some places have ABV percentage requirements, what have you. Food pairings. My cat just wandered into the shot. That means this video should have approximately 1 million hits now. Food pairings. I feel like the Wildcide would pair a lot more easily with fish and game because it has that real dry, tart, tender quality to it. It would go well with almost any sort of like game or game meat. For the Stella, beef, pork. Actually, I would even consider burning a single bottle of the Stella to cook with as well. Just because it has that great apple, backbone running to it. I'm hard pressed to say which I like more. Both are good. You've got a centuries-old brewery coming up against a brand new young upstart. So you can take that from what you will. I don't really buy into that sort of thing there. If something's good, it doesn't matter how old or young the person making it is. If you can make something good. I'll say they're both good in their own way. I'll take the cop out. I'm not afraid of doing that. But if I were going for my money, again, I would probably go, Laurel's would probably go to the Wildcide for me. Because, for me personally, I feel like it goes with more things. I feel that, for the flavor, this is closer to something that my wife would enjoy, so it wouldn't be that we could share a 6-pack of this. I wouldn't have to buy my own 6-pack and give her something else or what have you. It's something we can agree on. But again, that's something subjective. Your own individual taste buds, palate, and everything can be completely different. But I wouldn't turn my nose up at the Stella either, just because it's so darn good. But that's all I've got. In the meantime, feel free, get these if you can. Tell me what you think about them. Subscribe to the video channel. Follow me on Twitter at @iron_fox. In the meantime, stay safe. Please drink responsibly. Cheers.